right. Well, hello, Lori and Karen. You still there?
Yes.
We-
I'm still here.
All right. This is just a public meeting we wanted to hold, Joe and I, to discuss floodplain management and let anyone who wanted to ask some questions. I think everyone knows everyone here, but for those of on who may be watching, this is Joe Gettinger, the floodplain manager for the county. Felix Meyer, Emergency Services. We have two gentlemen here from Corps of Engineer. It's Greg Kohler and Hal Graves. Griff? Grafe. I'll write that down.
G-R-A-E-F.
Thank you. And then on the phone, we have two ladies from FEMA, Lori Blatter and Karen McHugh. Let's see. I was just going to go over the few things that have come up in questions to me with those who have come into City Hall about the new maps. And then if Joe's got anything or anyone has anything they want to add, and then open it up to any questions to all the attendees. I'm going to be a little briefer than I prepared, but there are new firm maps, so the flood insurance rate maps being introduced. The ones that the city and I think the county both have right now were done in 2009 and then finalized in 2011. We have new maps that have been, I guess, produced over the past 2 to 4 years, and they become effective February 15th of 2019. The actual process to get them approved started quite a while ago. I think there were public hearings or public meetings January 15th of last year, and then there's 90 days if you want to file a complaint or lodge any sort of comment, and that was up in April of this past year. And now we're here to begin adopting these new maps. I have the city maps, and Joe has the box full of the county maps if anyone has any questions. There are some changes on them. In talking to the folks at FEMA, there's some new methods that are being used to map the floodplain with, is it laser or LIDAR? LIDAR, I'm sorry. So there are some changes in the maps. It affects a lot of folks here. I was talking to, it's either Lori or Karen a few months ago. There's $9 million of flood insurance in force here in the city, and $5.2 million in losses paid over the history of the program. So it has helped a lot of folks here locally. We want in the city we have to adopt a new ordinance each time maps come out, as does the county. So we'll update the map numbers, but we're also going to be proposing to increase the freeboard. So freeboard is the distance above the base flood elevation that you have to build. We want to increase it from 1 foot to 2 foot. Raising that to 2 foot, it will not have any effect on previously built structures or their insurance premiums as far as the raising, but will help to lower the risk of flooding on any structures built in the floodplain in the future, and it'll lower the flood insurance premium for those folks. We're also planning to add a few conditions for approving variances for agricultural structures, which will help protect those more in the event of a flood. Joe, that's about all I've got. You got anything you'd like to cover?
Not really. I think you did a pretty good job. Now, they started this research way back, I think, 2011, like you said. I
Yes.
think the research on the new levels, and I think most of the levels were lowered for people. I mean, the floodplain level lowered compared to what it was. There's a few that went the other way, but not many. So I think Lake Forester is only like 2 people left in it, and then there used to be a lot of people in it.
So it went down.
It went down.
Yeah, we had a lot that went down, but we did have some areas that
Right.
went up.
Right.
So that will be a change.
Right. That's all that I have, and I guess if anyone has any question, we'll have to look it up for them. If they want to come in, we'll look it up.
Yeah, if anybody wants to come in, they can come see me at City Hall, or they can come see
me at the courthouse.
Joe at the courthouse. We have a whole bunch of information available for anyone who wants it. It talks from anything from building above the freeboard, to flood proofing, if you want to go that route, to insurance rates. That information is all available here at City Hall, and if it's not at the county, we're only a block and a half away. Walk on over and we'll provide. Okay. All right. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
I have a question.
State your name, please, for the record.
Sandra Cabot, and I'm not here this evening in my capacity as tourism director, but I have a question, because when we first bought our house, and I live at Lake Forest, when we first bought our house, and throughout my homeowning career, I've insisted on purchasing flood insurance. And when we first bought our house at Lake Forest, we purchased flood insurance. And then I suppose because of the changes, our insurance agent contacted us and said, hey, great news, you don't have to have flood insurance anymore. Well, so we stopped it, but I feel like we should have flood insurance because, I mean, even if you're outside of the required area, is it not a good idea to have flood insurance?
It is a good idea. I don't know, Lori or Karen, if you heard that question, but she's asking about having flood insurance outside the floodplain, and I'm pretty sure 20% of claims come from people outside the floodplain. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's correct. It's really actually around 24%, and we really kept a close eye on that in 2017 when we had our flooding events in Missouri, and that held true. 24% of the claims come from areas not in the mapped special flood hazard area. And those policies are typically very affordable policies, and they are called preferred risk policies, and you can pick those up very affordably.
So, did you catch all that?
It may not be required, but it is optional and available.
Oh, yes.
Probably what happens if you have a federally backed mortgage, which most mortgages are, if you're in the special flood hazard area, you'll be required to have flood insurance. So if they change the mapping and you're no longer required to, you're certainly still encouraged to have it.
Okay.
And so, as you just heard, 24% of the people who file claims are outside of the special flood hazard area.
Okay.
So just because you fall on one side of that shaded line doesn't necessarily mean you're completely protected. So FEMA, who administers the program, highly encourages everyone to have flood insurance. So if you're not required to, you'll have very favorable rates.
Right.
Be much cheaper than those that are at much higher risk.
Okay, thank you.
I think there's actually a rate table there for Zone X, which is probably what you're talking about. That one at the top, second from the right. I think those are examples. I mean, I'm sure there are factors that can raise them or lower them, but.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor Hassler, any questions?
No, I live high on the hill on 348 Kennedy, well out of the flood zone.
Lori or Karen, anything you want to add to this? It's being broadcast, but we only have a couple attendees.
Well, I think it's a good thing that you are considering adopting a 2-foot freeboard. That's 2 feet of protection, and the insurance is cheaper for new construction that's elevated 2 feet above the base flood elevation. And we always encourage communities to adopt higher standards. Currently, at your 1 foot, if there is development in the community, the base flood elevation can go up to 1 foot. So the higher you are above the base flood elevation, the safer you are. So new construction, if it's elevated to 2-3 feet above the base flood elevation, that's just extra added protection.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, anything you want to add?
I echo what Karen just said. The higher standards are always better to prevent future damages.
Yeah, so it sounds like we're on the right track.
And I think the only question it might have came up too, folks who already built are asking, well, would that affect me if we raise from 1 foot to 2 foot? But it will not.
Correct. The new construction.
Just new construction, so it won't cause their rates to go up or down. Right.
Correct.
The only time that it's going to affect them is if they make a substantial improvement or if they're found to be substantially damaged. Then they would have to bring their house into compliance with the new ordinance and the new base flood elevations on the new map.
So if they were making substantial improvements, meaning over 50% of the structure, or if there was a
Correct.
flood event and they had over 50% damage.
Exactly.
I'm learning.
I think it sounds like you've been to Tools of Floodplain Management.
I did attend that.
I know. And Karen, this is Lori, if I may interrupt, and I know we talked about this earlier, I'm sorry, but and if they are insured and they are damaged in that flooding event, remember we talked about the increased cost of compliance coverage as well that is available to them.
Yes. When we have a pamphlet here on that increased cost of compliance also, if anybody wants that. Well, thank you, ladies. Felix, anything?
Nope, you been?
All right.
I'm good.
Good? Yes, ma'am.
I have another question, and this might be more for Joe. So in the county with agricultural facilities, flood insurance is available for barns and things like that?
I would think so, yes. They're treated a little differently. I know you can, and you can build in a flood zone, but you have to have, I think, proof of all your elevations, and you also have to build in a way that you have enough openings in the building that you can let water in and out, and it has to be built out of materials that do not damage by water. So you can just let the water in, let the water back out, and move on. If I got all that right.
Anything to add to that, ladies?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
That's all right. I'm sorry. We're not the best technologically capable here of all this, but so we just got a phone sitting next to the microphone. She asked about agricultural structures out in the county, and are they eligible for insurance also?
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are. But I think you can either raise them or flood-proof them, meaning
Right.
the water has to pass through.
Yeah, as long as you have agricultural structure variances in your ordinance, folks that want to put a ag structure in the special flood hazard area can go through the variance process. And you're right, it has to be made out of flood damage resistant material, and it needs those openings so the water can flow through. And of course there's limited use. We don't want to see offices or things like that. It's more for storage of equipment, maybe
Right.
a place to put the combine at night when after you're finished harvesting or something, and barns are allowed, but they have to be what we call wet flood proof, and that is going to be allowed through the variance process.
And that variance process, I think the county has it. That's what
Yeah.
I was proposing we add into the
Right.
city in case we need
Yeah,
it
we
also.
have it.
Yeah. Does that answer your question, Sandra? You're welcome. Well, if there aren't any other questions, any questions, Michelle?
I do not.
All right. I think that's it, ladies. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, thank you. We wish we could have been there, but we were in Kansas City, so we're sorry we missed coming down for your meeting.
That's all right.
Thank you for inviting us. Thank you for inviting us by phone.
You're welcome. Thanks for
Yes.
calling.
Yep, this is Lori, and I'll maybe be in touch with you tomorrow as well, and just follow up, make sure that there's nothing else we need to do.
All right. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, gentlemen, very much for coming. I appreciate it. If I could get a card, just in case I
Yeah.
need it in the future, I'd appreciate it too.
That would be good. I'm sure Michelle wants your information also.
Hi.
Hi, good to meet you.